Well, hello and welcome to this video where we're going to focus on the quantum trading indicator, which is called the VWAP, VWAP. And as you can see, I've created 6 timeframes here. We've got the 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute across the top, and the 10, the 15, and the 20 below. And if you've watched the introductory video on this particular indicator, then you'll know that the VWAP is very much an intraday day trading tool for scalping stocks, ETFs, futures, whatever it may be. It works in exactly the same way. I've started here with Walmart, which I'm sure everyone is familiar with. Now, before we dive into the charts themselves, let me just highlight a couple of things. I'm just going to go down here on the 20 minutes, probably the easiest to show you. Just pop that up full size and just expand that up a little bit. There we go. So 2 things really I wanted to highlight. First of all, I've reduced this down to regular trading hours because you have the option within TradingView. It's quite difficult to find if you're not sure where it is, but you can switch on and off the extended trading hours. So you have if you want the pre and post, or if you don't want the pre and post, then you just go to regular trading hours, which is RTH. And to do that, you literally right-click on the chart, go down to settings, and you find it here under symbol, which generally comes up as the default. And it's down here, as you can see. Now, I've got this set to regular trading hours. If I click on it down here and select extended trading hours and just close that out of the way, you can see we've now got the pre and we've got the post. The pre appears in this very pale sort of orangey color, and we've got a very light blue on the post. But if you don't want that, if you don't want to see the pre-market, the post-market, then you can just disable that, go back into settings, check for symbol, and down here we'll just revert that back to regular trading hours and click the OK. There we are. So that's how you switch on the extended trading hours, and it's called ETH in NinjaTrader and RTH. And here they actually spell it out for you, so that's absolutely fine and easy to find. The second thing I wanted to show you was the indicator itself. Up here we've got the quantum, what we call the quantum VWAP Pro. And if we click on the settings, the wonderful thing with this indicator is that it is 5 indicators in one. We are going to focus on the VWAP to start with because that is very much the foundation of the others. And as you can see, here they are. So the VWAP is the volume weighted average price indicator. This resets itself every session. So at every new session, the indicator will start afresh and start building the data from there. We then have one called the AVWAP, which is the anchored VWAP. Now, the nice thing with this is that you can set the start point of the VWAP wherever you choose. It's rather like with Fibonacci, for example, where you're looking for significant highs and significant lows. Well, you can do the same with the AVWAP, so you are not restricted to a particular setting. With the VWAP, it automatically sets to the new session. With the anchored VWAP, you decide, so where you find a significant high or a significant low, which may be dictated by an event. It could be dictated by volume, by volatility. Where you find those levels, you can anchor the VWAP across the time horizons. So that's why it's called the AVWAP. You can anchor it wherever you wish. The third option is what we call the MVWAP, which is the moving volume weighted average price, bit of a mouthful. But what that allows you to do is the VWAP then continues across the time frame. So unlike the VWAP itself that we're going to look at now, the moving volume weighted average price continues across the time horizon. So it's very much for longer term, if you like. The VWAP, you could say, is intraday very much. day trading, whereas the MVWAP is very much a longer term. You consider it a swing or even an investment perspective for that particular variant. The next variant is called TWAP, which volume does not apply, but this is time-weighted average price. And again, what we are looking at here, TWAP is another interesting indicator or variant of the VWAP, which we'll look at in great detail as well. But basically, again, here, the TWAP will cross over time horizons. So you're not anchored to a particular point on the chart at all. So it smooths out the price action very much so. Finally, down to one which has an interesting name. We've called it the intraday VWAP. And what this is, this only works on the slower time frames, so the daily downwards to the slower of the weekly and the monthly. And this is very much moving into the investment perspective, if you will, where we're looking at the slow time frames, because generally speaking, a VWAP will not work on a daily chart. Well, we've made it work and we've added this in for you. You won't find this anywhere else. And in combination with the others, the reason that we develop these variants is because they all have applications. They are all popular. They're all used in slightly different ways. And we felt at Quantum that it was a great opportunity for us to bundle all 5 variants together in one single indicator. You control which one you want. You don't have to go and look for different indicators. They're all here. You simply select the one you want to use. So I wanted to show you that first, as this is the first of many videos that I'll be doing on TradingView. I'll show it elsewhere as well in case this isn't the first video you see, and there will be an introductory video which also covers it too. So there we are. We're on the VWAP. Let's just click that off. And this is probably a good place to start on the 20-minute. Let's just drop that down. As you can see, we've got, as I say, we've got time frames from 1 minute right the way through to the 20-minute. So if we enlarge the 20-minute again, this was very much the session yesterday. Game of two halves again, to use a football analogy, if you like. Not a hugely volatile day, but it does indicate and it does illustrate the principles of the VWAP. As you see, it resets here, always resets the VWAP at the start of the session, whatever that session may be. So here, here, and here. And we had a good strong start to the open. We had a little bit of a wick here to the upper body, so maybe not particularly strong once that little bit of selling pressure came in, but then we start to build and we move nicely. This is the VWAP, the center line, and these are what we call our envelopes. These are set on default to 1 standard deviation, but you can adjust them. I didn't show you that when I was in the back end there, but it's very easy to do. And you also have the option to set them not only numerically whole numbers, but also to decimal numbers as well. So you can have 1.2, 1.5, whatever you choose as your standard deviation. We have them defaulted, as I say, to 1. So this is 1 standard deviation away from the VWAP, which is the central line. And as always, what we're looking at the VWAP, several different perspectives, particularly, just close this down for a moment, particularly when we look at it from the perspective of the trend of the VWAP. I've mentioned this in many other videos, and I would urge you also, it just reminds me that a lot of our customers assume that they need to look at the indicator on their platform of choice. So if you're trading on TradingView, for example, then you always want to be looking at the TradingView videos that we've recorded. Well, that's fine. But equally, I would urge you to look at other platforms because all these indicators work in the same way, slightly different in terms of how you configure them and set them up and what have you. But in terms of the way the indicator works, the algorithm, if you like, it's exactly the same across the platform. So whether you're looking at this particular indicator on TradingView, or whether you're looking at it on TradeStation, whether you're looking at it on NinjaTrader, the principles of how to use the indicator are identical. And one of the things we always look at is the VWAP and the inclination of it. Is it declining? Is it rising? Is it flat across the time horizons? Because that gives you a great feeling, a great flavor for what is going on across your time window in terms of trading that particular stock. So let's just pop that one open again. So we had this rally in the early part of the session. What is interesting is you can see here the volume is starting to fall away, and indeed it falls away quite dramatically from the high. Now, that's partly what you expect to see. We always get an inrush of volume at the start of the session, but as the session gets underway, you can see here how we're seeing rising prices, but the volume is actually falling, which is not a good signal. In addition to that, we've moved beyond the standard deviation of 1. So we've moved well beyond that. So potentially we are looking at a situation where we may be overbought, and therefore a potential for a reversal and a short from that high, which indeed deliver. It followed through. We had a 2-bar reversal here, but the look at the volume under that particular candle. And the key with using the indicator is using volume price analysis methodology. It is absolutely essential because it gives you that all-important, what we call the trigger. So the VWAP is there. It's giving you all this information. It's giving you where the price is sitting in relation to the VWAP itself. But the actual trigger for getting in, staying in, and indeed getting out is very much based on the volume price analysis methodology. I've stressed it so many times in other videos, I can't stress it too strongly here. So when you look at that candle there, yes, you will certainly see this as a potential 2-bar reversal and think, well, is this stock going to rally off that? But when you look at the volume associated with that widespread candle, there's nothing like enough effort going in there to drive that particular price. So it's no surprise, therefore, to see the weakness deliver. And then in addition to that, you've got possibly twice the volume of that candle here, and it's under this particular candle. So we're seeing a wick to the upper body, lots of volume being driven into that. So lots of effort with no result. No surprise to see the stock continuing lower. And then towards the end of the session, we always see this ramp up in volume. It's indicative. And again, as I've mentioned in other videos, you will tend to see this sort of profile, high volume at the start. We then go into the session with all the demonstrable volume, and as we tail off at the end of the session, we get this rally in volume, generally shaped in this way. So that's on the 20-minute, and then of course that's reflected across all the other time frames, and you start to pick up all the other VPA lessons from it. There we go. This is a very nice example. Off we go. The volume's nicely rising here, but then you see it starts to decline as we get well beyond the 1 standard deviation, our outer envelope to the upside, and potentially, and it's always potentially an overbought situation or an oversold situation to the downside, but it's only potential, and it's only validated once we start to look at the volume profiles associated with it and see what's going on. Then we roll over, move through the VWAP, and on down to the outer envelope to the downside. And it works in exactly the same way across all the various time frames. Let's just go up to the 5-minute finally. Just pop that one up full size. There we are. Exactly the same thing as you would expect. Very well defined congestion level up here. You can see the volume's getting pretty low down here. And even on these rallies, look at the volume down here on these 2 candles, this potential effort to rally. We've got a widespread candle there, virtually no volume going in, and even smaller volume under the next one, looking very weak at that point. Plus we're around this level of the outer envelope, and off we down we go, and down into this nice fall into the close. So there we are. That's the VWAP indicator on TradingView. There's lots more videos to come on this. We'll look at other instruments. So we'll look at some ETFs and also indices. Show you how it all works across the various types of chart that we can select here on TradingView. So thanks for watching. See you soon, and bye for now.